So case study, the second case study, right? So IPL 2021. So this is the Rahul Dravid campaign, right? So when we started off, we planned it for 5 to 10x, right? So somewhere around 5 to 6x, not even 10x, right? So, but what we realized was the scale was quite huge. What you see here is like a number of app sessions per second, right? So around 8:30, there was a power play at the time, right? So we were running the campaign on the TV, where you pay your credit card bills during the power play and you get your bills for free, right? So as a cashback. So this caused a huge spike. This is like 15 to 20x of a spike at the time, which we were not so prepared of, right? So why? Yes, we had checks in place, right? So luckily for us, uh, uh, we had built some tooling, right? So manual tools which we could just go and enable, right? So and ensure that we are like safe, right? So I'll talk about them shortly. This is a view from one of the microservices, right? So just sharing some numbers here, right? So from 20, 30, 35,000 to it went all the way to 4.5 million requests, right? So in just under a 5 minute time, right? Again, this is during the power play time period. So how did we do this, right? So how did we handle the first leg of IPL 2021, right? So we had a dedicated cross-functional team focusing on the readiness, right? So chaos testing was done using Toxic Proxy to simulate network and system faults, right? Simulated database and AWS services going down on the critical path, right? So uh, in addition to that, we built we use Kong as a API gateway, right? So that's where we do the traffic control, right? So we brought in a plugin, right? So we built a plugin called Quality of Service plugin, QoS, right? So, or I can loosely say Graceful Degradation plugin. So what this plugin does is it adds some metadata in our configuration service, right? So which our application teams consume, right, and act on that, right? For instance, it says, is the traffic now, is the traffic level now, QoS level now, green, yellow, or red? Green is like everything going smooth. So yellow is like there is some stress going on. Red is like it's a critical alert, right? So this was a plugin that we built in the first leg, right? So it was not like a sophisticated plugin at that point of time, right? Uh, so what we did was we anticipated some traffic, not to this extent, right? So we enabled this plugin at the start of the match, right? So where we said manually change this plugin to yellow, right? So as you can see, these are the latency on the services, right? So when we enable this, the latencies go down because the downstream systems, right? So they gracefully degrade. They pull out data or do processing only for the information that's very critical for the customer, and hides all the information that the customer doesn't care about, right? This is something that we did, and this plugin protected us from this spike, right? This would have been a disaster without this plugin, right? So this is like an anticipation, right? We know that this time IPA is going to be big, so we built this and enabled this that protected us from this massive spike, right? So this was a massive learning, right? So immense learning from the first leg of IPL, right? So it didn't bring us down, right? There was some on-call activity happening during this time period, right? So manually turning on this one every day and making sure that during that period we are like stable and provide a reliable service to the customer. Right. The second leg of IPL, right? So we built a version 2 of the QoS plugin, which is like fully automated, right? Here, depending on the traffic numbers, incoming traffic numbers, we were able to control the QoS level automatically rather than manually going and changing. We were able to predict the traffic, right? So, and control the QoS level. So as you can see, right? So uh, uh, this is a spike, right? So we see a spike here. Corresponding to the spike, you see the different levels, right? So how the traffic header was header was passed on to the downstream systems, right? So if you see the gray one, right? So most of them are green, right? So and few yellow and red, right? So the plugin automatically figured out that I had to lower the quality of service Accordingly, the backend services, it enabled and disabled some functionalities to the customer. Once the traffic, once the QoS level moves back to green, we enable them all, right? So this is a I would say it's a big achievement, right? So learning, right? So it's not just about I wouldn't call it a technical achievement, but think of it from the point of view of how we carry forward the learning, right? It's not just about like I'll do this only when things break. It's about like anticipating things, right? So anything can go wrong, right? So be prepared for the unexpected. Uh, you plan for like a 5x spike, you get 20x spike, right? So but what do you do in such cases, right? So do you go down, or do you shed the load and handle in a graceful manner, right? So that's uh, what I want to call out here. So this is the outcome, right? So there was no outage, zero downtime, right? So throughout the IPL, right? So some graceful degradation happened because of the load, right? So but it didn't impact customer in a big way, right? So customers were not even aware that we are gracefully degrading. So minimal on-call activity, right? So I've been part of multiple organizations where IPL has been a key event, right? So almost all e-commerce, commerce companies, IPL is the place where they tend to grow, right? So they grow their base from there to a level up, right? So uh, the amount of time that people spend for scaling the systems and handling on call during that period is quite huge, right? So I can proudly say that we had minimal on call activity during that time, right? So which is an achievement, right? So it's like an amazing outcome that we have seen, right? So for the work that we have, the preparation work that we had done prior to the event, right? So now we are fairly sure that it's a set practice, right? So I think we have seen two IPLs, IPL 2020 and the two legs in 2021, and this IPL we are fairly confident, right? So we know how it is done. It is templatized now. Everyone in the organization understands that this is the process that they had to go through, right? So prepping up and enhancing from the, gaining learning from the previous occurrence, right? So, and building few more tools, right? So to protect ourselves.